Hey Jay, thanks for signing up for this portfolio review. I'm excited to take a look and see what we can improve. So I'll go ahead and I will pull up your portfolio. And first off, I just want to say I absolutely love this homepage. This is so cool. This like grabs my attention. It gets me interested. I love, very type forward ways of presenting work. My only gripe with this homepage, because everything is in this sort of scrolling thing or the scrolling sort of bars, is I'd like to understand how I can differentiate what a project is, like what I can actually click into, and what is, say, a link like Instagram, Twitter. I know you have them, like it's written out here, and I get that, but just like immediately landing on this, it's a little confusing. I think also maybe something with some of the speed here, where like these are your first three projects. Playground, I guess, is your blog, and then Instagram, Twitter, like these are all your social links and resume. Again, I love this. I think this is so cool, but at the same time, it's just hard to know what to click into. So something to think about, and how you can kind of like just tweak that a little bit. I will go ahead and click a project really quickly. Let's click likelihood. The sneaker and high street fashion boutique. It's a haven for style enthusiasts seeking curated selections and unique pieces. Boundaries of fashion, nestled in the Iron City of Seattle, likelihood and bodies. Okay. Step into the store and you'll be greeted by carefully curated. Oh, exciting. Project designing the monthly staff picks playlist covers. This project allows me to merge my passion for music and design. Okay, so okay, when I first get into this project, right? This first paragraph, you're doing a lot of great building up the story and kind of giving a lot of background, and that's awesome. Then, as I get to the second part, my initial feeling is that like, okay, cool, this is going to be like some kind of like really comprehensive big project. And then you kind of get to that you are presenting the album covers for a digital playlist that you guys would share monthly. And that's fine. Like I get that, right? Like this is a fun project for you. You get to like really show your creative skills and like your interests, and I think some of the work here is great. The only thing for me is that like if you're a part of this team at likelihood, like there has to be other bigger projects within like your everyday role that you can present. Album covers doesn't really give me, as someone who would hire a creative, an album cover project doesn't really give me a sense of like what their experience is or the skill. This kind of project, or task, if you are working full-time or just part-time at this company, is sort of like a nice to have, right? Like someone would say, hey, we do a monthly Spotify. I need you to make the album covers. And there may or may not be like a lot of rules around that task, but it doesn't give me a sense of like the design process that you would have to go through. This is really just you exploring, a bunch of different directions and a bunch of different interests that you may have. So something like this doesn't really give me a whole lot to dig into, to really understand your experience, to really understand your process, or how you work well, or how you work within a team, or how you can start a project from scratch and then bring it all the way to the end and launch it. This is just like a kind of like a nice, fun project for yourself. And depending on what kind of role you're applying to, may not give enough background for that person that's hiring to allow them for a green light. Let's go back to, so the one thing I don't like is that I can't immediately go to the top here and then click back to like your homepage. So let's go to Junkie. Love Junkie is a startup skate brand I created in 2021. Junkie is not a skate. Not just click any of the photos, poster to watch the tape. Okay. I'm going to just really quickly breeze through this. Okay, so you did some video editing here, maybe. Cool skateboard. Okay. Again, not a whole lot of meat within this project. AG closed the bounty pushing music club defies. Recently I had an incredible opportunity to collaborate with AG Club to create an identity for the. Now, this already sounds like a project that should be maybe your first one, right? I had the incredible opportunity to collaborate with AG Club to create an identity for their highly anticipated Seattle concert. Great. One thing also to consider that I'm noticing in a lot of your projects right now is the use of full bleed images. And while that can be great for an instance like this, where I can get all of the image or the detail in one view, something like this doesn't work, right? Like I'm mentally piecing together what this image is, right? So like frame 1 for me, frame 2 for me, like that doesn't really help. Same thing for these images. I'd almost have them side by side in a grid. This one works. This is a little big. Again, you know, why not have these side by side rather than expanding beyond the page? And then this as well. I think the one thing that I'm seeing with a lot of these projects is that there isn't enough process, like understanding where you started or why you made some of the decisions. And also there's not enough projects that really kind of speak to that. You know, I don't know where you're at in terms of your career, if you're just getting like out of school or you're younger, you're just starting off, and that can help. You know, that can be something that comes over time, but they're very like, I don't want to say flat projects, not visually, but in terms of content, it's like I got to do the monthly playlist covers for the company that I work for. Again, that's great, and I think some of the work that you did is really cool and really interesting visually. But when we're thinking about like getting full-time roles at potentially bigger organizations or bigger companies, some of that stuff, again, kind of falls to the bottom of the list of things to do for, you know, a company, depending on what kind of company it is. And so I think that sort of might be some of the problem. Let's go to information. Graphic designer and creative director in love with simple. I'm guessing, I wonder if B2000 is that you were born in 2000, which means you're very young. In love with simple measures and inspired by punk theme. My goal is to represent. Cool. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the thing here. I think like you've made this your portfolio website in a way where it focuses on the work. And again, I love this homepage. I love this kind of like presentation. It gets me interested. And I, you know, like I would hire you to do some stuff. I get where your skills are, but if you're applying to full-time roles or bigger companies or things like that, it may take a little longer for those companies to really understand where your strengths are. And so we kind of need to, you know, keep that in mind when we're presenting these projects of like, how do we present the things that you're really good at, not just visually in the images that you include, but how do we talk about them? And so, you know, yeah, you might have designed a Spotify playlist cover for the company that you may or may not be working at. But what are the other things, and how can you build the idea of like presenting likelihood, like all the work that you've done at likelihood, rather than just a smaller piece? Um, so yeah, if you have any other questions, let me know. Feel free to send me an email, and I hope you found this helpful. And yeah, have a great day.